So while millions celebrated gay pride, a left-wing mob viciously attacked a gay Asian journalist. The Antifa cowards wore masks. Being a mob of mostly pale, flabby basement dwellers, I don't blame them.
Yo!
A lot of beeping. Andy Ngo ended up in the ER with brain injuries. These Game of Thrones cosplayers also hit him with homemade milkshakes, which may have contained more than just milk. Ngo, an independent journalist, works for the excellent site Quillette. I've interviewed him before about his reporting on hoax hate crimes. Many hate crimes, it turns out, are hoaxes, just like these Antifa thugs being Antifa, they're pro-fa, pro-fascist. So a guy who monitors fake hate becomes the victim of real hate, attacked by scum pretending to be anti-hate. So where was the Portland mayor? Imagine the Joker running Gotham, and you get the picture. The good news, even CNN finally condemned these jokers. I guess that makes up for this.
You can talk about Antifa. I've watched them in the streets protesting in different situations, okay? There are certainly aspects of them that are true to a cause. That is a good cause. They want social justice. They want whatever they want in that context.
So many hacks excuse the violence, including one Hillary staffer who claimed the victim asked for it by filming the protest. I guess that makes all journalists open game. Once again, those who claim to condemn hate egg on the mob. Kate Cronin-Furman, writing from safe downtown London, wrote in the New York Times calling for Border Patrol agents to be doxxed. She didn't post her own home address, of course, but she hopes this shaming will make agents quit their jobs. So, thugs can dox and harass as the media from afar directs the mob. They now rely on intimidation to make their case, perhaps because their words fail them. So, I had our brain room look at different states and where you're allowed to wear a mask. There's a lot of states where it's against the law to wear a mask, but not there. And they could have changed it.
I think that you have good reason to be wary of any movement that they want to wear masks.
Yeah.
Like their whole point is wearing masks. The other thing I've noticed is that Andy Ngo is always referred to in media reports as a right-wing journalist. Not that he's just a journalist, and that's like, you don't have to write left-wing journalist. And that part shows the incivility and the intolerance level. It like ratchets up all the time. And Sam Harris, somebody who you have talked about before, he tweeted that basically there's a very thin line between civilization and non-civilization. And what you see here, like I would never. I like Portland. I used to like Portland. I would never go there on vacation. I would never go there. I'm like you in the DR.
Yeah, Portland's like the DR of America now.
DR is fine compared to Portland. I mean, come on. Yeah. Portland, we used to be a jewel of a city, but the mayor and the police, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, if you have police that know this is going down and a mayor that's aware of the chaos about to happening, and then they just let each other go at it, I mean, we've seen that in Baltimore where you give them room to riot. It's really irresponsible, and it led to people getting hurt. And I agree, the media will give license to this type of violence, and they do it in subtle ways, and here's how they do it. Look at the headline about the story. It says, conservative journalist says he was attacked.
Yeah.
Not was attacked, says he was attacked. Okay, well, he's
the opposite of what they did with Smollett.
It's on video, and there's a police report, and his face is a mess. It's like saying, oh, well, the Toronto Raptors say they won the championship. Well, it was on TV, guys. Also, why hasn't the media found any of these attackers and identified them and interviewed them and put a mic in their face? Because some guy on Twitter will tweet out some video of the president body slamming a CNN logo, and they will have reporters at the guy's door the next day. And these people, no one knows who they are. And then finally, the Southern Poverty Law Center soft pedals these people. Cuomo and other people at CNN soft pedal these people. Meanwhile, we've heard for 2 years how Trump's rhetoric is causing violence against journalists. Now, we actually have a conservative journalist who's been violently attacked, and they've buried the story. And I just want to say one more thing. If someone throws a milkshake at me, make it chocolate.
Juan, I am
Make it
lactose.
delicious.
Juan, I'm lactose intolerant, so if they throw a milkshake at me, that is assault with a deadly weapon.
Oh, no, that's a good...
Grievous
you know,
bodily
But
harm.
they stopped the KKK with these anti-mask laws. Doesn't that change the tenor of a protest?
I think
You're
so.
less likely to hurt somebody.
Well, I think everybody goes to these things preparing for violence, but I must say, I just think the violence is unacceptable. I think it's reprehensible, and I think it should be prosecuted. What we just saw, it's uncomfortable to watch. It shouldn't be happening. But I must say, it sounded to me when I was listening to you as if you were saying that the excesses that were exhibited here are now to be, labeling all people who are fighting against the neo-Nazis and the fascists and all of that it's representative of all of Antifa. And I don't think
it is representative of all of Antifa.
Let me finish my point. I don't think it's any more representative of the entirety of the protest groups than the guy who was sending the bombs to CNN or the anti-immigrant guy who shot up the synagogue in Pittsburgh, the worst mass shooting of Jews in U.S. history, or the guy who was sentenced to life last week for his hate crime in Charlottesville.
Which we all
ran
condemned.
over that girl. Right, so we all condemn it, but I'm just saying, when I would say, hey, this really worries me, or even guns, you say to me, hey, Juan, that's not representative of everyone.
Juan, that's like us saying some right-winger that sent a bomb. That's not representative of the right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Of the right-wing bombers.
Or the right-wing bombers, yeah. Or, the guy in Charlottesville that mowed the woman down, that's not representative of
Nazis.
The neo-Nazis. Why are you differentiating that? The point is, all of Antifa is like this, as Greg said. Yes, they are. Have you seen the videos? They all dress in black. They all wield clubs. And they all have things on their
Oh, yeah, the lady that was
And they're all unemployed and ugly.
Well, and here's the thing. If you're showing up with a crowbar, clearly you have no good intentions. If you're showing up with a mask and a crowbar and assault gloves, clearly you're not showing up with any good intentions. But here's my concern. I mean, remember when Chris Cuomo was on air and he was talking about Charlottesville and he was talking about neo-Nazis and Antifa, and he was basically saying, well, one is fighting hate. And there's this sort of moralization and justification of what Antifa does because of the people that they are targeting. But that's a problem. And what concerns me is I think there's a lot of people on the left with that mentality that somehow what Antifa is doing is okay, depending on who they're targeting, depend on who ends up getting harmed by it. And I think that's a dangerous scenario to be in and a dangerous mentality for these people to have. I'll also point out that Mayor Ted Wheeler, do you remember, I think it was last year, an ICE building, a field building in Portland, Oregon, was literally under siege. And these Antifa people and protesters were not letting individuals in and out of the building. They literally stopped a car from being able to leave. And this mayor was tweeting that basically, I don't support ICE, so I'm not telling police to do anything about it. I mean, that is outrageous behavior.
Well, I don't know why this... Shouldn't the citizens of Portland do something?
Think so.
But I guess I don't know why.
My family lives in Portland, and they're terrified.
Yeah.
They don't go. People don't go
don't go
downtown
out.
anymore. Yeah, it's too dangerous.
There you go.